Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Once Upon a Read Along monthly live shows. My name is Chloe from the channel Brunette Bibliophile, and today I am here with my lovely co-host Kat from For the Love of Books, as well as our special guest Desiree from the channel Libri Labra.
Hello.
Today, today we are discussing our March book of the month, which is Obsidio by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff, the third and final book in the Illuminae Files trilogy. So, as always, the first couple minutes of this live show will be spoiler-free as best as we can make it, as we discuss our initial thoughts, and then the rest of the live show will be filled with spoilers, which we will let you know when we move on to that. So if you don't want to find out spoilers, I recommend sticking around for the first couple of minutes and then leaving. And if you don't care, then go ahead and stick around. So Kat, would you like to go ahead and start with initial thoughts?
Sure. Obsidio is obviously the last book in the series, and it was honestly very bittersweet because it's such a great series, and it is definitely one of my favorite series of all time. I did give the book 5 stars. I don't think it deserves any less than that. It was just a very nice ending. It concluded everything, in my opinion. It concluded a lot of things nicely, and it wrapped up nicely. This was just a series that every book was just so good. And it's honestly, when it comes to YA, and even within every genre within YA, it's very rare to find a book series that every book is just so good, at least for me. And so this book it was really good. It wrapped up everything nicely. All of the questions that we had from the first book, from the second book, I did feel like it was answered. Now, do I think that the books could be continued? Yes. And I actually heard that Kristoff and Amie Kaufman are writing another series together, which I'm very excited about. And it is also sci-fi. So I'm very excited for what they have come up next, because this was such a great series, and I think they wrote it so well, and they told the story so well. And I hope that the next book is just as good. But like I said, I gave it 5 stars. I was so happy to see my bae, Aiden, again. I love him to death. He's my favorite character in the whole series, even though he's an AI. But I'm glad of how things wrapped up. But again, it's very bittersweet. I wish there were more books in the series, because I feel like the story could be told in more ways. But yeah.
All right, Desiree?
I think Kat kind of covered everything really well, but I agree that I felt like each of the books were just 5 stars for me, like from the beginning. And the fact that like you have these 2 different formats, right? Like I listened to the first one, I listened to the second one, and then for Obsidio, I like read it and listened at the same time. So of course I'm going to have to go back and like visually read the first 2 books. But I think they're just such unique experiences, and it definitely got wrapped up pretty well. It was nice to see all the old characters plus some new characters. And even though I think I have a little bit of trouble kind of keeping track of all the planets and the ships, that's a thing I struggle with. So, but other than that, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Okay, and I actually didn't start this series when it was first released. I actually only read the first book a month ago in February. And I find that with sci-fi and fantasy, basically like any like genre where there's a lot that goes into it, I find that I don't like them as much. It's really hard for me to find a book that I like. And this trilogy, I actually really ended up enjoying it, even though I really thought that it messed with my head in the first one. But I gave this one 4 stars, and I was excited to find out what would happen in the end, because I did read Illuminae and Gemina almost back to back, and then I had a couple of books before reading this one, but this totally messed with my head, just like Illuminae and Gemina did, and there was a ton of messed up stuff that happened, but I did enjoy it, and I am excited that we were able to see what happens, and that I ended up enjoying the series. And I think that's all I have.
What made you give it like 4 stars versus like 5 stars? Like, did you specifically take a star off for anything?
Not that I can think of. Like, I've been thinking about that with all my books lately. I It's probably with this one, like, I had a really hard time starting it and actually getting into it. I got it from the library and I started reading it, and then I put it down for like a week and I didn't know what to do. And then I realized I had a week before the live show and I really had to get my stuff together and read it. So I think it just took me a little bit to get into it. But like I gave the other 2 4 stars, I think, as well. I don't remember why though. So I think we're going to be heading into spoilers. So does anybody want to start?
What was your guys' like ranking of the books? Which one was your favorite to your least favorite? So for me, like Illuminate will always be my favorite, but I had a hard time like deciding whether I liked Obsidio more than the other 2 books. But I definitely have to say that Obsidio is probably my 3rd favorite. So I definitely like them in order of how they were published. So Illuminate is definitely my favorite. Gemini is definitely my 2nd favorite. And then I loved Obsidio, but it's definitely, I didn't love it as much as I did the first 2 books.
I think I'm the same because like I really liked Ezra and Katie compared to.
I thought you liked Gemina better. Didn't you like Gemina better? I feel like you did.
I feel like I liked Gemina better because it didn't mess with my head as much as this Illuminate did. Like I liked, as far character-wise, I liked Illuminate better.
Okay.
I think so too. I mean, I remember being like, I kind of read them a while ago, but I remember being upset that the second one wasn't about Katie and Ezra.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I eventually got into Nick and Hannah's relationship, but for like a good quarter of the book, I was like, oh, I don't even care about these people. But, you know, I don't think it was necessarily how it was written. I was just so looking forward to hearing more about Katie and Ezra.
That's how I felt too. I was thinking that like this last book, we wouldn't have any new characters, and then I open the book and I text Kat and I'm just like, we got new characters. What are we gonna do?
So, in regards to the new characters, you said that you didn't care as much about Nick and Hannah as you did about Ezra and Katie. But for me, I agree with that. I definitely like got attached to Katie and Ezra. But for me, I didn't see the point of Asha and Reese. Is that his name? Yeah, Reese.
Yeah, Reese Lindstrom.
Like they were nice, and it was cool to get like a perspective of what's going on planet side, because obviously we've only been focusing on the people who escaped. But it was interesting. But I just felt like if you took them out of the story, I'd be okay with that.
I feel like
it's not that I didn't like them. I just didn't feel like they're, because in the first book, Katie and Ezra were so important to the plot of the story. And in the second book, it took a while, but I felt like Hannah and Nick really became important to the plot of the story. But for the third book, I just didn't think that Reese and Asha were that integral to the plot of the story. You know what I mean? So while I did like them, I was like about them.
I think they could be considered more of side characters than main characters. Because, like, we didn't see very much of them in the story.
I mean, but they still played pretty important roles when you think about it.
Yeah, they did. I just feel like they were more side characters because we saw a lot of what was going on the ship.
I really wish we had learned more about their relationship. Because, you know, clearly they had a thing and then they didn't have a thing. And
yeah, we got some background of what happened between them, but it wasn't like the information we got from like Hannah and Nick or
right. So they don't ever say why Asha and Lindstrom broke up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's slightly mentioned that
I don't know if I missed it.
The parents didn't approve, right? Parents didn't approve.
I think so. And then for some reason, Ezra got sent to military school, and Asha, whatever, they did something wrong that pissed off their parents. So Asha got sent to go live with her cousin Katie. And then as Reese got sent to military school. So they did something, I don't remember what it was. And then because they were going different directions, they broke up.
I have a question for you, Kat, because I'm very, very curious. Why do you love Aiden so much?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain. I just, like, in the first book, I connected with him so much. His struggle to understand, like,
humanity.
like his struggle to understand human compassion, like in this third book where he killed 2,000 people, and he understands that human beings see that as murder and see that as a horrible thing to do, but he doesn't understand, because the way he sees it as very a logical thing to do. You know, he keeps saying you kill 1,000 to save
1,001. Yeah.
Yeah, so he keeps saying that. So I found it interesting seeing his struggle to understand humanity, and then in this book seeing him struggle to understand as best as he can as an AI, understand his own feelings about Katie. And I don't know, I really connected with his struggle, and I really enjoyed seeing his character. I thought of all the books that I've read of AI, you know, developing humanity, this was the book that was I felt like done the best in that aspect. And so I don't know, I just really liked Aiden. I thought he was the most interesting character in the whole series, so that might be why I liked him so much, but I don't know.
I just remember reading the first book, and you asked me how I felt about it, and I was just like, dude, the machines are taking over, and it's freaking me out. It is messing with my head.
Yeah, and I just like, I like that he doesn't see himself as either bad or good. And throughout the story, he says, "You need a villain, you need a monster in your story, and that's okay. You can make it me." But he sees himself, even in the cover of the book. If you take off the dust jacket at the very bottom, it'll say, "I am not good, nor am I evil." And then he says it a lot, "I am Aiden."
I have a library copy, so I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah, at the very bottom in red, it'll say, "I am not good, nor am I evil." And then towards the end of the book, he says, "I am Aiden." He likes to remind us of that. And so I don't know, I enjoyed his journey to whom he started off as to who he became.
I really didn't like him in the first book.
Me
I was
neither.
just like, wow, this AI's douche. Like, I mean, I as you see him struggle with kind of realizing he has what we would consider emotions, I think you develop a sympathy for him and an empathy of what he's going through. But I remember not liking him in the first book.
Yeah, I didn't like him in Illumine, and then in Gemina, I was just like, okay, yeah, I get it now. And then I was like, okay, he's good. And then he went and killed 2,000 people, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is not how it works.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to my husband because I was like, when did he start developing feelings for Katie? Like, how did that happen? Because I didn't remember exactly.
It's been a while since I read it's been a while since I read the first book, but I want to say like towards the end of Illumine. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, because we start off in this book with him being so happy that she's carrying him in the palm pad, and how I remember him talking about how she moves away from Ezra, but she still clutches the data pad on her.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So obviously by then he's already started developing. I don't remember the first two books. It's been a while since I've read them. I need to reread the books, but I think I want to say towards the end of Illumine, or maybe sometime in Gemina.
See, I just read the books, and I don't even know. Like,
because in Illumine, remember was it Illumine or Gemina where it was just Katie and Aiden trying to destroy the Alexander?
I think that was Illumine.
Yeah, that was Illumine.
Yeah, so I think that's when Aiden started really feeling a connection to Katie.
Because wasn't he like doing research on her or something, like tracking her or monitoring her in some way?
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He has an obsession with her.
Yeah, it's weird.
In some ways, it is creepy. So,
I don't remember what I was going to say. Somebody else has to say something now. I can't remember. Oh wait, I remember. Yeah, because like I just read the books, but like there's so much information that you process throughout this entire series that I can't remember anything, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a random question, if I can find it. Hold on. Give me a second. Did you guys ever read these like briefing notes at the top. I only read a couple of them.
Yeah, I read them. I read them all.
Yeah, I read them all.
I don't read them all. I just read a couple of them throughout like the entire 3 books.
That basically just explains what you're looking at.
Yeah,
but like once I got through like the first book, I understood the format, so I didn't bother with reading them. There were only a couple that I probably read less than 10 throughout the entire trilogy.
Now, see, that would bug me. I'd be like, oh, I didn't read it. I'm gonna go back and see what I missed.
I think my main concern was I had to read 2 giant books before this came out, and I was just like, well, let's do this.
I was listening.
I did.
They read all that.
Yeah. Well, I did. I had the physical book, and then I did also the ebook, because like whenever I'm like I've been to like Busch Gardens and Universal, and whenever we're in line, I just read the ebook. That's how I got Illuminate done so fast. I read a lot of it at Busch Gardens.
But you were online.
What?
I said while you were online.
When I was in line.
Okay.
Yeah, she would whip out her phone and start reading.
Mm-hmm. It's smart.
Anything you want to talk about, Desiree?
So I understand that the Illuminate group is like full of teenagers. But as I was listening to Obsidio, well, first of all, I didn't feel like Obsidio was as funny as the other 2. Mm-hmm. Like it still had its funny moments, but I think the other 2 were funnier for whatever reason. But there's a scene in like the beginning where a bunch of a whole Baytech troop or whatever get killed or bombed or something. And the way they were talking about them just kind of annoyed me. Because
in the explosion at the very beginning?
At the very beginning, yeah. Like they called them like corpsicles. And just the dialogue, the back and forth, and how nonchalant they were talking about like these 13 people that had just died just kind of upset me, because I was like, they're still people, whether they're enemies or not, or soldiers or whatever, they're still people. And I felt like they really dehumanized them. And it bothered me a little bit.
I don't know about like the actual soldiers that died, but the way I see it is that a lot of these people probably have been desensitized from all the violence. I mean, they literally killed a bunch of colonies for being like basically useless, and threw them in a huge a huge mass grave. They were throwing bodies in there as if it doesn't matter. And it seems like Reese, remember, was the only one who was horrified by this whole thing.
Right.
And the way I see it is like more like if we look back at World War II, what the Nazis were doing to the Jews, and they were burying them in these mass graves. And you see evidence of how desensitized the Nazi soldiers were to the whole thing. They didn't even blink an eye to the mass graves that they were creating. And so that's the way I say it. I don't know about like how they reacted to their own soldiers dying, especially in that explosion, because that kid that died in the arms of the guy in charge, I feel like in times of war, a lot of these people are just desensitized to the whole violence, especially if they've been experiencing it for a while. And you can even see throughout the book that the soldiers, they kind of like make fun of Reese for being so sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, like, literally the military almost kind of brainwashes you so that you don't ask questions and you just follow orders. And I get why that's necessary when you're in the military and you have a task to do where you may not be, eligible to receive all the information or answer all your questions or whatever. It just, like, I don't think I could ever do a job like that.
Yeah. There was even like, I mean, it's not like it was all of them. There was one page where it was in the final battle scenes against Baytech and our Illuminate group, and Aiden took over the Churchill, the other ship, and he kept basically blowing the enemy people out of the sky. And there was one page where he found out, he knew facts about each of the people, each of the enemies that he killed. And there was one of the girls who said that she died. He kept saying that she was gathering information quietly about the bad things that Baytech was doing So she's a Baytech soldier, and she was quietly gathering information about the basically the wrong things against humanity kind of thing that they did in order to bring it up to the higher ups once the war was over. And then obviously in that moment she died because Aiden killed her, so she never got
the chance to do that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I can't say I'm not a soldier. I've never been to war, so
Right.
there's evidence like these people just tend to look the other way, and you know.
I don't know about you guys, and this is totally not a part of the war discussion, but I realized that I have been spelling Amie Kaufman's name wrong this entire time, and I'm gonna have to go in and edit the title of this video.
Wait, is it wrong in the video?
Yeah, it's Amie.
Yeah, and I put Y, and I didn't even think about it. And then I looked over at my book, and I saw the way it was spelled, and then I looked over at the title of the live show, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for like the entire...
spelling it like wrong a million times, too.
Yeah, so for like the entire month of March, where it has our currently reading thing in our bio, it's been spelled AMY. So I just took it out because I figured, we're going to change it today anyway for next month, but just that's my little tidbit of information I didn't realize until now.
So something that I had like been saying to Kat was because she said she felt that like they tied things up neatly at the end, and I agree, but I feel like it was a little too neat.
Yes, I was going to say that too. The ending was just too perfect. We discussed, the Biblio Squad discussed this yesterday, about how everybody that we care about, everybody lived.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We were like, while we would have been sad if someone had died, we would have been okay because that's more real if someone died and they all lived. And but yeah, I do agree that the ending was just wrapped up a little too nice.
I will say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I will say that in the second book, we thought that Nick had died, but he didn't. Like, not the real him. And then in this one, we thought Ezra and Nick had died. And, like, I wanted to be sad, but I wasn't because I was like, I don't really...
Are you kidding me? I almost cried. I, like, lost my shit, and I opened up Snapchat, and I was like, what?
Yes,
and I started
texting I was like, Kat. Oh, that was sad. I didn't want to tell her anything.
I know. She was just like, yeah, just keep reading.
Well, as I was reading, I was just like, I don't really think that's the truth. So...
Yeah.
No, I totally believed it because his comm just cut out. Well, I was listening to it, so his comm just cut out, and he tried like really hard to be like, "Katie, I love you," and it was just like, and I was freaking out. Like I almost said, "Okay, I have to stop for the night so I could process this," but I kept going.
The whole time, this whole book, they kept making fun of Nick for his stupid parachute, and it ended up saving them, okay? So they can never make fun of Nick ever again for his stupid things that he does.
There were a few parts in the book where I felt like, hey, they're mentioning this way too many times. It has to be important for a reason.
Yeah, I was like, they kept mentioning this too many times. That parachute is going to save them from something.
Just like... What I thought was funny, because I know earlier we were talking about like the humor of the book, I liked Lieutenant Babyface. It's like, yeah, whatever, baby.
Never gonna live that down. It's his name.
It's so funny. Especially because Nick keeps calling him that.
Yeah. So, who was your favorite, like, male character and female character?
Ezra.
Ezra?
Yeah, I don't have a female yet.
What about you?
I would say, for me, it would be Ezra and Ella.
Okay.
I love Ella.
I'm the only one who likes Nick better.
I think Ella is hilarious. And then like there was a part, my husband didn't notice it right away, but like when they were doing their like IM chats, their group chats, she kept changing her title.
Oh yeah. I loved it.
I know. It was
hold on.
It was really funny.
Now I gotta go look.
Towards the end. Yeah, I remember.
Towards the end?
Yeah, like at one point she was like, I think her title was like Grandmaster Funk.
Yeah.
And then at another time it was something rock and roller. Yeah.
Anybody have a page number here? Page number? All the ones I'm finding are between Katie and Ezra.
So, but something about Nick. Okay, so they keep talking about Nick, and Nick was a drug dealer, and Nick was like, I don't know, part of the mafia or something, or some
a gang. Yeah,
house of knives or whatever. And they had all these details about him, but I never felt like they fit. You know, like they would say that he was kind of rough, but maybe, you know, even though he can speak in complete sentences, he wasn't like super intelligent. And like I just never felt like his description fit.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on, I'm looking for.
I'm still looking too.
I mean, it's also possible that I always felt like he was just kind of another Ezra.
Oh, Ezra's better than him.
Like you guys said that you like hold on. You like Ezra better. I always liked Nick better. I just felt like okay, so page 522 is one of her names because she changes her name quite a lot. Master of Disaster.
I think I remember that.
There was one before that. And that was my favorite one. Oh, here, the other one on 497. She's Atola of Rock and Rolla.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I love that one.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it would be like right here in the chat, not up here.
No, up there.
Okay, I kind of always skimmed that.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
I skimmed the whole book.
Sorry, man. I got to get to the important stuff.
You know, I love that.
The reason why I like more better than Ezra was because I feel like Ezra was too perfect. He always came off as so romantic and so self-sacrificing and so just the perfect guy. And Nick was just this guy who was just misunderstood, and I loved his sense of humor. I feel like he was the one, he and Ella, I feel like they were the ones who kind of broke the tension of the group because Katie was always trying to like make sure that everything, you know, they're all alive, and Ezra's trying to make sure that she's alive. And so I feel like Nick and Ella were just the ones that kind of were keeping the group sane, you know, and I loved his jokes when he kept calling Ezra babyface and with his parachute. And Ella the same thing. She would mess with Aiden by being sarcastic, and then Aiden wouldn't get it, and he would. He would
okay, so every time he erred, I mean, I know like I did my best with like the context, but did he error every time he kind of had like an abstract human thought, or? Yeah. Every time he like referenced an emotion or something that was more of a euphemism.
This book wasn't as clear as first two books, but in the first two books, he would always error out whenever he had a thought that goes beyond his AI capabilities, whenever the thought was human or emotional, something that wasn't logical, you know?
Right.
I was going to say something.
I think I want to get a shirt that just has that on it.
Error?
Just says error. Yeah.
What was I going to say? Now there was one thing I was actually kind of sad about, but it was what was happening on Carenza. The first explosion that, like the big explosion that kind of started the whole like ending fight scene, where they had the Duke, and the Duke was in the high school, and he was part of the explosion. I was kind of sad when that happened.
Yeah,
I thought he was funny.
Why was Duke talking about himself in the third person the whole time?
I don't know. That's what I thought was funny.
I like Duke too, and honestly, the reason with the way he and Reese interacted together, how they were so friendly to one another, was one of the reasons I almost believed that Reese actually, you know, betrayed Asha. But I didn't, because I was like, there's no way this is a setup. But
I didn't get that impression at all.
Really?
It wasn't until like, you know, I realized that that's how they got Aiden into the system that I was like, oh, this was planned. What the hell?
I didn't actually I didn't have any thoughts whether he's a traitor, or he's still on her side. I didn't really think about it. Cuz like I thought maybe he was a traitor, but then it's like later it was said that it was a like planned.
Yeah, but I knew. I was like, it was just too suspicious. Like they I'm sure at the moment in the book they were very convincing towards the others, but I don't know. It was just like Reese tried so hard to get Asha back that I don't think that he would just assume that she betrayed him like that by not mentioning the Thermax.
So it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while I'll read a book and the love interest reminds me of my first love.
Oh, which
one? Reese. And it mostly because I feel like they didn't give enough backstory, but it seemed like, Asha and Reese really, really cared about each other, but they were just bad for each other for whatever reason. Because just because you love someone doesn't mean you're meant to be together or that you can make it work or anything like that. And just that feeling of really, really loving somebody and not being able to make it work, like that's what it made me think of. And I don't know.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I feel like their story, their background information, I feel like it was not developed well enough for the book.
I would have liked to see more. But I mean, like, they had tattoos of each other.
Yeah.
And he got his removed. Like, I feel like
I wanted more backstory on them, yeah.
Right, yeah. I just feel like in order to get it removed, I feel like you have to be really, really, really hurt. If that makes any sense. Because I feel like if you still love the person, you'll be like, okay, whatever, I got this tattoo, I still love them, whatever, I'll just move on with my life. But like, you have to be really hurt and betrayed to just not want to look at it and not want to be reminded and not, I don't know.
Yeah, and we have absolutely no idea what happened between of them. They give us some information, but not a lot. I do feel like their relationship was a little underdeveloped. God, I was gonna say something else.
It's happening to everybody.
Do you have anything to say, Chloe?
No, because I can't think of anything. I'm kind of bouncing off of your guys' conversation because then it gives me ideas, and now I got nothing.
There was a joke that I think Aiden had played it on Nick. I don't remember what the joke was.
Oh my God, was it sarcasm? I remember that.
No, I remember what you're talking about.
And then Nick was like, "You think that's funny?"
Oh, that's right. And Nick was smoking. Nick was smoking or something, and Aiden tried to get him to stop. So he said that Aiden said was going to flush him out. So he started doing the thing, and I remember that joke. Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, what's happening here?"
Yeah.
And then later on, Aiden's just like, "Yeah, you guys don't get my joke, so I'm just going to stop."
I love him to death.
But okay, so towards the end, and I think it was McCall says to Aiden, "How can you guarantee that we can trust you?" kind of a thing, right? And so she wants him to make some kind of a promise. And he says, "I promise I won't kill anybody unless it's a direct order or whatever." And he goes on and on and on. And then like he errors out at a certain point. And I figured it was just Aiden erroring out, but immediately John was like, he just lied. And I was like, what? Like he shouldn't be able to lie. That's not how that works. But clearly he did.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But later he says he lied too, so.
Yeah.
Was anybody else sad when Captain Bull died? I was sad.
Not particularly.
I was sad.
I liked her, but I feel like, and I do think that she was a good captain, but I just hated the fact that she ignored Ben Garber. And I don't like him. I don't
really, like him either.
I really wish that he would just stop being so annoying. But the fact of the matter is that she made the situation with him and the mutiny that caused it, she made the situation with him so much worse by ignoring him. He clearly wanted to talk to her, and he reached out to her multiple times. And I get that she was busy. She's had thousands of people she needed to take care of. She needed to make sure that they were on their way to Corenza and that they were going to survive. I get that she was busy. But I feel like her ignoring him ultimately led to his mutiny and then ultimately led to her death. And I feel like she made a bad decision in that.
No, I remember like somebody else bringing up to him saying, "Oh, you killed Bull." And he was like, I don't know if he said it was an accident or it wasn't supposed to go that way or...
Yeah, I don't think he meant to kill her, but obviously it did happen. So I just I'm not trying to blame her, but I feel like she should have taken like 5 minutes to talk to him, you know?
I liked at the end during the final fight scene, he says, we surrender, blah 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 blah, and then we find out in the end it was all a ruse.
Yeah.
I
He
thought
made me
that
so
was
angry.
great.
I was so angry when I thought that he
Me
was
too.
and then it turns out it was all
pissed.
part of the plan, and I was like, okay.
Mhm. Especially when the new captain, what was her name, McCall, I think. Oh my god, she was pissed. Oh, it was. I was just like, oh god, I got scared.
Yeah, that was a good.
So I saw people on Twitter mentioning that there were a lot of Hamilton references. I didn't catch any.
I never watched
didn't get any.
Hamilton. I never got into that whole Hamilton craze, so I don't know.
I like Hamilton, but I don't know either.
So, but did you notice that, like, so Daniel Page's name was mentioned in there? Who else? There was another author.
I didn't know about Daniel Page in this one, but I remember in Gemina when like a ton of people died or they got flushed or whatever, and they had one of those pages where all the names showed up, and like I saw like Victoria Aveyard, and I don't remember who else, but like a ton of names that I recognized as authors. See, now I'm gonna try and find one of those.
Like when Aiden killed those people, and it was like showing what each of those people had been doing. One of them was Danielle Dorothy Page that had died.
Oh, that's awesome.
What was it on this page?
No, it was closer to the end, and it was literally like a 2-page spread, and there was one details for one person and then details for 2 people. And
I was talking about that earlier.
I'm gonna look in the big pile of names in a second and see if I can find anybody.
And then there was a Saba White. So I was just like, I mean, I don't know any other Sabas, but
this one page, oh god, there's no pages number. No page number. It's around 491. This one you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did see that, and I didn't even think about it.
And Danielle Dorothy Page is the one that says she sent several letters of protest to the higher ups, and then she couldn't get her story out because,
she died.
I didn't even think about.
And there was another author before that I remember stopping it and getting really excited, but I don't remember who it was.
I'm checking this big page of names again, just to see if.
And I really, really want to know if that was a Princess of the Bride reference that was in the book.
I saw something about that on Twitter that you'd said, but I didn't look into it about what it would be.
In the beginning, her and Ezra, Katie and Ezra, are kind of going back and forth, and she wants to, you could tell she wants to tell him that she loves him, but she has trouble with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she says something like, I do, right? And he's like, you do what? And she was like, love you. And I think he says yeah, I know, or sure, whatever. And then so they're signing off, and she tells him, okay, we'll do this thing. And he's like, as you wish. And so I had pointed it out to Kat, and Kat was like, I haven't seen that movie in forever. So anyway, but I found the clip.
You sent me the video, the YouTube video about it.
Yeah, I sent Kat a YouTube video where, in the beginning, they're talking about how the farm boy fell in love with her, and that was his way of telling the princess that he loved her. Every single time she asked him to do something, he would say, as you wish, and he would always look at her lovingly. And in the context of their chat, it just really seemed like that's what he was saying to her. Yeah, I love you. I'll do whatever you want, kind of thing.
I didn't think about it.
And then later on, Aiden starts to say that to her. And so it really felt like, yes, he was probably copying Ezra, but it also felt like he was trying to tell her he loved her by saying that. So to me, it felt like a Princess Bride reference, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie too.
So I've been meaning to tweet Amie Kaufman.
They never answer, I feel like.
Right now, my book club is reading Nevernight, and I haven't gotten too far into it, but I know John has read a lot of it, and he said that now that he's read like Jay's, own work, that he can see which parts were written by Amie and which parts were written by Jay in the book. Like for me right now, I don't see any kind of
different.
I don't see any kind of difference. So
that's how I felt about. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. So it's just curious to me. Like I wonder
that's how I felt about Zenith. I've read Lindsay Cummings' The Murder Complex duology, and to anybody who's read that duology knows that it's really, really bloody. So when I was reading Zenith, I was like, oh, I bet all of this is Lindsay. I was like, oh, this is her.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems very metal, like Jay is. So I feel like probably all the really snarky comebacks are probably like Jay. Yeah.
That's definitely him, I feel like. But yeah, this
I didn't say anything else. I was just drinking water.
I thought Kat said something, but I didn't catch it.
What did you guys think about when Aiden Aiden did sacrifice himself? Like his last conversation with Katie.
Frankly, thank God. I was so over him.
I was confused though, because it seemed like he still was alive. Like he was still.
Is. I feel at the end he was, but I feel like when he did sacrifice himself, I wasn't sure. He wasn't sure if he was gonna come back or something. I don't know.
I feel like every time he comes back, he comes and does something else that's stupid and kills somebody else. I was so over it.
I think the part that's interesting is that Katie obviously felt things about it, right? Like she was pissed off at him, but she kind of had an attachment
to feel this like she did, because she did try to stop him from. But I feel like he saw it as necessary because it was either her or him, and I feel like Aiden would have pretty much killed everybody in order to save Katie. Like that's how.
Yeah.
And.
I mean, that's true love, right? Being willing to sacrifice everything for the person you care about.
I mean, yeah. So, but I feel, he is still definitely alive. But at the end, he says that he's not going to contact her or somebody. He's going to leave her alone. So I think
I don't understand how he got on the church hill.
I don't know. This is on you, Kat. I don't know.
Oh, remember when Hannah was crawling through the things? Didn't they install something that?
Yes, they did.
They installed a virus and that made Aiden be able to get in or something?
Yeah, they put like a flash drive or something, and something similar to that.
And then Aiden. Oh, okay. So remember, in Lynch, that. Oh God, there's so many characters and I'm losing track of them all. Remember that Reese pretended to be mad at Asha, and then he gave her Palm Pilot, her data pad, to his authority figures, and they told him to go through everything. And then I think they took that up to Churchill or something to try to decode, because that's how they found out about the plans that the Illuminate group is coming. And remember, they were ready for them. And I think there was a virus in that data pad, because when they opened that, it enabled Aiden to get in.
But that was a different wasn't it the Magellan though? Because the Magellan was part of something like.
Yeah, they installed something in the like.
No, so it wasn't.
It was a different ship.
It was a Churchill. They sent the data to the Churchill, so the Churchill was ready for the oncoming whatever ship that their Carenza ship that they were coming. I don't remember what the name of the ship was. The Mao is coming. So remember, they found her data pad because Reese gave it to them, and it had all the information about the plan. And I think on that data pad there was the virus, and I don't know how they got it up to the Churchill, and that's how they knew about it. And that datapad had the virus that installed itself in the Churchill, and that's how Aiden got in. And remember that he glitched out, and then he was gone for a while, and he was transferring himself entirely to the Churchill because he couldn't work being in the Churchill and in the mouth.
Right.
He was stretched thin, so
Mm-hmm.
and that's how he sacrificed himself.
I don't think we're ready for AIs.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was the machines taking over, and it was freaking me out.
Because we're just going to end up in the Matrix. I don't know. It's sad to think that it's over.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be over.
I mean, I wasn't attached to it from the very beginning when the first one came out, so I'm just here at this point.
I did a white elephant thing at work last year, and I actually bought Illuminate and Gemini to give away because I was like, these are awesome.
Do you own physical copies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would keep them for myself. Like, I have a friend who's also obsessed with Harry Potter like I am, and whenever we buy each other gifts, I always try and buy her something I already have, so I won't want to keep it. It's a problem. Yeah, I found I only have Illuminate, like the other two I got from the library. So like I actually found Illuminate at a used bookstore for like $5.
Was it hardcover?
Yeah, it's a hardcover copy. I got really lucky.
I don't think I paid like that much for them on Amazon. It was like $10 or so for the hardcovers.
So guys, when we do our birthday and Christmas exchange, remember I don't have Gemini and
But do you want them? You just said that you're not particularly
I was saying that I wasn't like invested in the series to where like I haven't been with this series for like 3 years now. I've been with it for 2 months. But like all I have is Lone Illuminae right there. It needs Gemini and Obsidio. I almost bought them, and then I just didn't.
I also thought it was pretty cool that Obsidio was dedicated to Marie Lou.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And she did the drawings.
Yeah.
They were really good drawings. I liked it.
Now I'm trying to find the dedication page again.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Like, for Marie. Who else?
Why are you drinking water from a mason jar?
Why not?
It's moonshine. No, it was like every time I come to work with my stupid mason jar, people are like, "You got some moonshine, Desiree?" I'm like, "Yeah." I've just heard the joke so many times already. I had a water bottle. It was a glass water bottle, but it only holds 20 ounces, and this holds 32. So I have a hard time getting in enough water because I'm lazy. And so the fact that this holds 32 ounces, I only like to kind of get really hydrated. I have to drink about 3 a day. And the less trips I have to make to the fridge to fill it up, the better. So
I have a problem with that too. Like there was like a week ago, like when you're dehydrated, you get cramps in your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting cramps in my feet, and I was like, I know I'm dehydrated. I've been drinking coffee left and right. So I filled this up, and I made myself drink 4 of these right in a row, and then I was fine for the next couple of days.
So it just helps keep me hydrated, or else I wouldn't. Because like I'd have to refill the other one 5 times to get the same amount, and I just don't do it. So it helps me get more water in.
That's a good idea.
So like page number wise, because again I listened to it, Illuminate and Gemini, are they about the same page numbers? Or
Gemini I think was 654, and this is 615. It seems like bigger. Like if you look at the books, Gemini looks so much bigger.
Oh wow.
Like I was returning my copy of Gemini to the library yesterday, and it was like it's a monster.
Yeah, so Gemini is 659.
How many is Illumine?
So it's not that much. Yeah. So they're all about the same, almost the same page numbers.
Now, in regards to the format, you have like a couple of different things going on, right? So you have like instant messages and chats that are happening. You have emails that are being sent. You have these like replays of video footage or like transcriptions of video footage and stuff. Was there any format that bothered you or that you didn't like, or did you just kind of take it all in?
I definitely have to say that there were too many of the surveillance.
I hated them so much.
And I hate how long they are.
There were so many of them, and I was like, the point of this, the way this book is written, is because it's a different format, and I feel like I'm reading a normal book, you know?
Right.
There were just so many, and I feel like this book didn't have as many of the cool illustrations as Illuminate and Gemini did.
Yeah.
While I still enjoyed everything, I feel like they cut back on the illustrations in this book compared to the other two.
Because like even listening to it, the narrator actually sounds like he's commentating like a sport event.
Yeah.
So that kind of like bothered me. But anytime there was like surveillance footage back to back, it was just like, no, can I just have a chat?
Yeah.
Give me a chat, give me an email, give me something else. Like, I just feel like the other formats communicate so much more in less words, and it was just, I don't know.
Yeah, like they're so long too, and that drives me insane.
Yeah.
I had to replay it a few times because there were a few like surveillance footage things where Reese and his team were like playing cards or something. And so we'd get halfway through it and John would be like, I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, come on, I gotta listen to it again.
Yeah, I felt like there's just too many of them. Like all of they kind of compiled all of the cooler illustrations towards the back. So like stuff like this with them crawling in events.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was looking forward to a lot of that and other things, and it wasn't as cool as Illuminate and Gemini did.
I didn't know that Hannah knew martial arts. Did they mention that in Gemini?
I think so.
Yeah, I think she did, because she used to play chess with her dad, and it kind of like, I don't know, she mentioned that she was good at chess or something.
Because she just came out swinging at one point, and I was like, she just kicked everybody's ass, and it just seemed kind of unbelievable. I guess because I didn't remember any of that from the previous book.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about? I feel like it's done. Anything in the past 10 minutes.
I had my Easter dinner a couple of hours before this, and I'm so full, I just want to take a nap. It's nap time.
Chloe, do you want to go into finals since we're not saying anything?
Final thoughts. Go ahead. Whoever wants to start.
Oh,
I can
great
go.
book. If you haven't read it, it was great. 5 stars, whole series. Even Chloe, who reads only contemporaries, liked the series. So,
girl, you have been getting into more contemporary lately, and you know it.
Yeah.
Read Upside.
Oh, that was good. I really liked it.
Tell her how good it was, because she needs to read it.
It was good. It was funny, and it was cute. And
have you gone and seen Love, Simon yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I did. I haven't read the book yet, though. But
girl, what's wrong with you? You will read it in like a day. Go read it.
I know. I just figured that they were going to make changes to it, and I was like, let me just watch the changes, and then whatever. So that way I don't get upset.
There weren't that many.
Yeah, there weren't.
There were some changes, but they were okay. They were good
They were
changes.
subtle.
So I would agree with Kat and say that for me, the Illuminae series is like, it's like up there. It's like, whenever I think of series that I loved, you know, number one is Harry Potter, and then I'd say number two is like Twilight, and I think it's up there.
Kat is hardcore judging you right now.
I am.
I saw you looked dead into the camera with your face.
See, here's the thing. It's not even about like the writing. It's just about everything that I felt while I was reading it, right?
Exactly.
You know, like so just the excitement for me, it was a page turner, and I liked every book in the series. It was like, aside from Harry Potter, it was the only other series that I was like, I need the next one. I need the next one. And yeah. So I love Illuminae, and I try to tell people about it all the time. Like I rave about it all the time.
Kat, can I challenge you to read Twilight now?
No.
What if I buy your lunch the next time we're on a trip? Like Desiree did?
I read the first book. I could not for the life of me get through the second book. I hated the second book, and I was just like,
yeah, the second book is the worst one.
Yeah. Oh,
okay, well, if you've already read the first one, then I'm not going to buy you lunch.
Wait, have you read all the 50 Shades though? Have you read 50 Shades?
No,
I'm on the last one.
Okay.
I'm reading the last one.
Okay.
I've seen all the movies. I like the movies.
I like the movies too.
I'm trash.
Actually, I only saw one, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. I don't think I've seen the second one.
I went to see the last one opening night, and there was this giant group of people, and all of a sudden when the credits start rolling, like the opening credits, they're like, yes, girls night, and I was like, can you not right now? Just let me enjoy my garbage movies, okay?
So wait, did Amie and Jay really say they were working on a new series together?
Yeah. Right now they don't have a name for it, besides the fact that it's called the Andromeda Saga. But yes, they are writing a new book series together.
The Andromeda Saga, like Zenith?
That's the Andromeda Saga.
Oh, okay, my bad.
The Andromeda, like the thing in the sky.
The thing in the sky.
But yeah.
Kat is great with words.
Yeah. I bought Ice Wolves. I haven't started that yet, but I got it the other day. So
I thought you were gonna say ice cream, and I was like, girl, same. Okay. Anyway, I gave this 4 stars. I enjoy the series, but I will probably never reread it. It's one of those things where it's just like it's so long and it's so dense. I just can't. But I did enjoy it. 4 stars. And like I said earlier, it's very hard for me to find a sci-fi that I really enjoy. So it's always nice when I do find one that I like. And that's all I have for my final thoughts. If anybody else has anything to add.
Well, it was 5 stars for me. I think I gave them all 5 stars. And I'm not much of a rereader, but I would definitely reread these.
Yeah, I definitely want to reread these.
You know, I would really love for them to make movies.
Yes, it would be so good. This would be a perfect, because it's so action-packed. I feel like it would be a great movie franchise.
But I think there would be like fist fights over who should play Ezra and Nick and and Reese, and like, because they can't mess around with those castings. They can't.
If I were to reread this series, I'd probably do audiobooks next, because I've heard the first audiobook.
They're incredible.
Amazing. Yeah. That's what I've heard. But like when I wanted to read them, I wanted the full experience. And I didn't want to do the audiobook. So I did that. So if I were to reread, I would do audiobooks.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else, or should I discuss next month?
Go ahead into next month.
Okay. So technically this month, April. Our April book of the month is The Traitor Prince by C.J. Redwine. That is the 3rd book in the Ravenspire series. I do not have a copy. Our live show is up in the air right now. But I would say
May 6th, yeah.
Most likely May 6th. But I would say sometime between the last week of April and the second week of May. That's the range, probably. But we'll figure it out eventually. It's to be determined. And for any updates regarding that, you can follow us on Twitter at Once Read Along. That's where all the updates happen. So if anything changes or is announced, it'll be there. That's all I have. So, Kat, what page are you on in the Shadow Queen?
Like 54.
Girl. I believe in you. Just know that. I believe.
Do I even technically have to read them since they're not sequels to one another?
I don't really know because I've only ever read them in order. I mean, to be fair, you read the Stephanie Perkins trilogy out of order, so I mean, you do you. You do whatever you want to do, but I read them in order, so I don't know. Do we have anything else before we close out?
No.
Nope.
Then thank you all so much for joining us or for watching this later when it's up on YouTube. I'm going to go change Amie Kaufman's name because
everywhere.
It is everywhere. Well, the Twitter posts don't really matter anymore, but this does, so I need to go do that. And make sure to join us sometime in the end of April or the beginning of May for the Trader Prince live show, and to follow us on Twitter at Once Read Along. Make sure to go subscribe to Kat and to Desiree for the love of books and Libri Labra, respectively. And make sure to subscribe to me, Brunette Bibliophile. And we will see you guys next month.
Bye.
Bye.